Hey, it's Ryan from Silverline, and today I'm going to be doing a breakdown of Compassionate Love by Melia. I'm going to kind of break this song down in like three different sections. First, I'm going to start with the vocals and the big chorus vocal stack and all the harmonies and the processing we did on the vocals. Then I'm going to take you through all the instrumentation, the bass, the keys, all the piano and like sort of texture, FX sort of stuff. And then I'll take you through all the percussion and all the drum sound and how we programmed all of that. So I'll start with the lead vocal and I'll just go through kind of my process for processing the lead vocal.
I'm not here to start a war with you. Don't wanna think about things.
You can actually hear the metronome in there. But anyway, it's all good. So basically the start of my chain is I put a utility at the start, and this is to basically clip gain all the really loud parts. So you don't really want the compressor doing like crazy amounts of compression on the lead vocal. You kind of want it to just be doing a little bit and then you compress a little bit more on the next compressor. So basically I'm automating the volume on these really loud parts just so it's not hitting the compressor as hard. And you can see I've done that in a few spots around. You can also just like select the part and change the volume here, but I prefer to do it this way. For some reason I feel like it affects the tone more when you're changing the gain on the actual audio track, but I feel like that's placebo. But anyway, I prefer to do it this way. And then the second thing I do, actually I'll show before and after, just so you can get a good idea of what everything's actually doing. So without the utility.
But somehow you left. But somehow you left.
This is the first compressor. So you can see with the clip automation on, look at this compressor, like the gain reduction signal here.
But somehow
so it's kind of peaking at -7, but without it,
but somehow
it's like nearly -15, which is not, I mean, it's like, you can't hear a massive difference, but it's kind of just good practice to do that. Because like when using these sort of emulation compressors, they will be leaving sort of like a bit of saturation on them, depending on which compressor you're using. So it's just, you don't want the vocal to be too tonally different between like each phrase. The second thing I do is basically attenuation equalization, or in simple terms, just taking out yucky frequencies. Generally, I would take out mids. I mean, it depends on the vocal, but for the most part, I would say the most common thing I do is taking out a lot of, well, not a lot. Well, this is a fair bit. Well, it's a bit of middle range in the vocal, because generally the middle range tends to mask the actual frequencies that we hear, like the upper mids, which is more around 3K. So the lower frequencies tend to mask it. So if you actually just take it out, it makes it sound more clear. Alright, so this is the before and after of the EQ.
Still see the seeds of you. Still see the seeds of you.
So it's just taking out a bit of that boominess. It might sound a little bit thin, but we're going to sort of saturate it and compress it, so that sort of thickness will come back. The second thing I do in the chain is, first of all, just a little bit of de-essing, or like taking out some of the highs, because this is quite a bright vocal.
Still see the seeds of you, and think my after hours. Still see the seeds.
It's a pretty minor change, but I just want to gradually reduce some of the highs. Again, like you don't really want to do everything with one compressor or like one plug-in, because it'll kind of make it sound unnatural. So you just want to do a little bit by a little bit. So I'm doing a bit of de-essing.
Still see the seeds. Still see the seeds. Still see the
Gradually just
seeds.
cutting out a little bit those highs. And this is actually a later addition that I did. After the first mix revision, I added in this more 10K attenuation just to get rid of some highs. It was just way too bright, especially with some of the parallel compression that we were doing. Just kind of turned out really like crispy. So
Still see the seed. Still see the seed. Still see the seed.
just cutting out gradually. So this is the first compressor.
Still see the seeds of you. And think my after hours is where.
So you want a fast release. Well, I prefer to use a fast release on the first compressor and like a medium fast attack. And then I kind of aim for like -5-ish dB of gain reduction just to kind of smooth it out, get rid of the peaks. And then a bit more EQ.
Still see the seeds. Still see the seeds.
Just taking out a little bit more of that mid-range boominess. It kind of gets brought up with some compression. And then the second compressor I use is the LA2A.
Still see the seeds of you. And think my after hours.
That's basically just taking off a little bit more compression. And then that's basically all the processing for the lead vocal on the actual insert. But then we also have some parallel compression and effects. So I'll turn those on. The first one is, actually I'll do the compression ones first. So we have this basically parallel compression that's just slamming an LA3A, which is kind of like a faster version of the LA2A. And just let me.
Still see the seeds of you. And think my after hours.
Bit of de-essing, bit of EQ, so it's not like kind of just compressing really boomy stuff, and a little bit of high cut as well with this EQ, getting rid of some highs. Basically, we just blend this in and it really just thickens it up a little bit.
'Cause I could pray for flowers. 'Cause I could pray for flowers, but still see the seeds of you.
I mean, obviously it's louder too, but it thickens it up. And then we have just delay.
'Cause I could pray for flowers, but still see the seeds of you.
And some reverb.
'Cause I could pray for flowers, but still see the seeds of you.
I just use a vocal plate and then just turn the decay up a little bit in Valhalla.
'Cause I could pray for flowers, but still see the seeds of you. And think my after hours.
I also do the parallel compression thing again on the vocal group. I don't know why. I just thought it sounded good doing it twice. I'm sure there's better ways to do it, but that's what I did. So I'll take you to the vocal stacks next. So this is what they sound like.
You wanted the best, but somehow you left me.
I'll just solo everything so you can hear.
You wanted the best, but somehow you left me lost in mind.
So processing wise, it's kind of similar. It's just a bit more EQ at the start. So generally with the backing vocals, I'll take out a lot more of the mids, depending on where the vocal's sitting. So you see some of them, well, actually they're not really that different. Well, I guess that sounded okay for this one. But generally I'll take out a little bit more mids, and then just compressor, DS. I'm a little bit more heavy-handed with the de-essing on all of these, just because you don't want too much S's with the BVs, otherwise the sibilants would just get really loud. So again, it's kind of like a gradual control thing. Bit more de-essing on the group itself.
Somehow you left me lost in mind.
But we kind of wanted this one to be just super thick. We didn't really want it to be like harmonically dense with lots of different notes of harmony, but more just like, thickness. So we recorded doubles.
You wanted the best.
Basically just copying the lead vocal.
You wanted the best.
And then we did a soft double, just giving it a little bit more of an airy texture.
You wanted the best.
Even more of a whisper. Same note.
You wanted the best.
And then this is a pedal tone.
But somehow you left.
Just doing the same note the entire time.
You wanted the best.
And we can quadruple that.
Somehow you left.
And we panned the double of the double, extra wide, and then the first one's kind of in the middle. And then we also recorded Rub doing a low harmony.
You wanted the best somehow.
Just to give it a little bit of low sort of oomph, I would say. Yeah, so that's kind of what we do. Like, we didn't even have any harmonies.
Somehow you left me.
Well, the only harmony is like the pedal tone, but everything else is...
Somehow you left me lost in mind. Is this compassionate? Somehow you left me.
So we just have pedal tones as the harmonies. Yeah, I guess we just wanted the thickness, and there's already a lot happening in the instrumental. All right, I'll take you to the verses. Basically, it's the same. We're just being really simple with the harmonies.
For the but I wasn't setting the standard for the effort from you.
Just like emphasizing kind of the ends of phrases with some harmonies.
Or maybe a plan or two. Seeing myself as a gift to you.
Pretty sick. Just verbing out the harmonies. But yeah, like... Oh, there's also this one.
To you. Gift to you. You wanted the best.
And then it basically just stays the same. In that chorus, we have some different harmonies in the bridge here.
Let this weight atone. Do I let this weight atone? Be the anchor to my love.
Just whispery stuff. We just wanted sort of that high texture, the airy stuff.
Anchor to my love. He's the anchor to my love.
It's really nice. And then the only different vocal thing we have is in the last chorus. We have this really high soaring vocal.
No, no. You wanted the best. You left
Oh, so good. I love that part. It's my favorite part of the song. Basically, it's similar processing to the lead vocal, just EQing out some like more resonant frequencies and just drenching it in reverb. But yeah, that's essentially the vocals. I would say just like pretty simple. We just really wanted to support the lead, not doing anything crazy harmony-wise. All right, let me take you through the bass. So we actually started with recording live bass. But eventually we decided to just use a Reese bass. Just thought it fit the vibe a bit more of a darker cinematic feel. And we automate the cutoff of the filter just a little bit throughout the song just to help lift it up and bring it down a little bit. But this is basically the patch. I think I made this just saw waves, octave higher. It's hardly even a Reese bass, to be honest, but it's just sub bass. And then we have this little accent of something, shimmer on the bass. And yeah, there's just a little bit of saturation on the bass. And max bass doing this preset, which really gives it like a much subbier, fatter feel. I do that all the time. And this is just a side chain. I'm using a multi-band compressor. Big side chain to the drums. You probably need headphones to hear the difference. It's a pretty subtle difference, but it just makes it a little bit cleaner. Make sure that those frequencies aren't getting too muddied up together. I used to like just use a sidechain compressor to just like completely cut out the signal of the bass, but it just sounded unnatural. And I was trying to find a way to make it a bit more natural sounding. And I think just doing this, like just being subtle, I think that's one of the biggest things I've been learning as I do more mixing is that firstly the source sound is going to be the most important factor to if it's hard or easy to mix. But secondly is just being more subtle with the moves you're making. So just a little bit of sidechain here. Gets out of the way of the kick and doesn't go too crazy. So the next part is the strings. I feel like that's one of the main parts of the song. We use Bohemian strings. I'll unfreeze this one so you can have a look. I put it on trio performer mode, so it basically just duplicates the string a couple times to give it more of a lush sound. Just chords, just reverb, bit of shimmer, getting like the granular octave delay thingy. Yeah, just some EQ. Don't want it too bright in the mix, taking away from the vocal. Just kind of sitting in the back, just supporting.
'Cause we could go the distance, but this.
So there's kind of two strings. We got the chords and then like the melody line doing some melodies. And then we have a couple more in the chorus doing harmonies of that line. Basically, they're all just doing portamento slides. We really love that sound. We do that all the time. But yeah, it's just like a 3-part harmony. And then we have this little reverse going into the post-chorus. That's basically the strings, and then they don't really change for the rest of the song. So again, simplicity is kind of the name of the game for this song. Have some textury stuff. This is, I don't know, Joe just like airdrops me stuff during sessions and he's like, yo, put that in. And it most of the time it sounds pretty good. And I just leave it in there. So I don't know how he made that. I think probably with Portal or something. I don't really know his methods, but it sounds good. So we've got a bit of that stuff in here. Just kind of textury stuff. Actually, there's not even that much in this song. I feel like usually we've got a bit more texture stuff, but we've got this nylon guitar. It's kind of playing this riff.
You wanted me lost in.
Just doing little bleeps and bloops. Just compression, EQ. This nylon guitar we have has a lot of, well, I guess nylons are just going to be more mid-heavy. They're just not very bright in general. So I just cut a lot of mids out, bit of saturation to sort of make it more present, get those upper harmonics in, and then multi-band dynamics, just bringing down the lows even more, and then boosting the highs. And then got this nylon art in verse 2.
You learned I'm more present than ever in
Without
a
it.
quiet night of solitude. But
Just helps fill up the space without like adding another like full instrument, you know. It's just like textural stuff, building the space, building the world, I think is something that we've been focusing on a lot. And I think having unique textures kind of gives you a unique sound without like different instruments doing crazy different things, you know. It's just like, I feel like it's more subconscious sort of sounds that you're hearing. And then I add this little synth in. Just doing little lines.
you learned I'm more present than ever in a quiet night of solitude.
Just jamming. That's on that synth, the Super 6. It's pretty nice. Just a simple saw wave sort of filtered sound. And then the piano we're using is just keyscape as usual. The natural grand piano sounds so good. Just taking out some mids to get out of the way of the vocals, reverb. I'm also taking some of the side image out. You'll need headphones to hear this, but basically the piano takes up a lot of stereo space, and I didn't want it to be completely mono, but I just didn't want it to be as like encompassing, so I took some of that out. Shimmer on it, just making it feel more ethereal. So that's the piano. It doesn't change much. The only part, it just changes a bit in the chorus. Goes to more of like a repeated rhythm, just like securing the beat.
Left me lost in. Is this
So that's the piano. Then all the percussion stuff, it's pretty basic, you know. We're just doing reverse cymbals,
'cause I could pray.
little percussion snare for the intro verse.
'Cause I could
Addictive drums. Love addictive drums. Just doing some little tummy fills.
love will bloom, but I've worked too hard to maybe.
So the main drums is just this. So keeping that Tommy fill in there. Boom, boom. But we have addictive drums basically. Just doing the kick because we didn't really like the sound of the rim in this kit, but we just wanted the hats and the kick. Sounds good. Stumpy. We just compress it a bit. And I also put a soft clipper after it, which is kind of one of the things I do in mixing, just so when it gets the final limiter, it's not like compressing too much. So this is kind of like the thing I was talking about before. Like you want to be attenuating things in stages. So I've got a clipper, compressor, then clipper, and then also like on the mastering chain, I've got another clipper before the limiter. So I'm doing all that so the limiter doesn't have to do everything, and so there's not like weird pumping in the final master. So this is the rim we use, just like a rim. Kind of like the tambourine with reverb on it, just emphasizing every other beat. We got a stump on the kick, emphasizing the kicks. But yeah, that's essentially the whole song. Like there's not anything too crazy going on. It's just like really good songwriting and really great melodies, I think, that make this song. And like instrumentation is really just there to support and sort of build a world. Let me know if you like this style of breakdown video. If you would like me to go more in depth on specific parts or explain more of the composition process. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and bruh.